welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today, I just thought it'd be fun to have like a little makeup class 101. So let's bust out your favorite almost nude but definitely neutral palette and your brushes and let's blend. I'm being awkward. Anyway, I've been wanting to do a look like this. I'm gonna have an intro because I don't want to scare anyone when they come into this, so hi. But I've been wanting to do this for a while and I just kind of never really felt super motivated because I don't normally do more everyday looks. So when we went to the Front Bottoms concert, I've met a couple of friends. Very thankful for that. That was so much fun. And like, I was inspired to do a neutral look, super in depth. So this may be a little bit longer than a normal tutorial because I do want to cover everything as best as I can. And now how I'm going to start doing this series is I'm going to do like, so right now it's just pretty much like 3 eyeshadows that were mattes, tops, 1 shimmer. So I wanted to do something simple, and I also like went through to see what palettes that I had that seemed like they were pretty easy to get and on the more affordable side of things. That way maybe somebody would have this exact thing or whatever in case they wanted to learn. And now I'm talking too much, but this is a very long-winded hi, welcome to Makeup Class 101 with Slightly Unblended. I hate myself. Okay, anyway, to start out, I feel personally like a good base is how you're gonna get the better color payoff regardless of the shades that you use. I feel like it just makes things go smoothly. So my favorite base ever is the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas. I use the shade Fair. I have white, which is super handy for more loud colors, pastels, neons, things like that. Very much makes them pop and more magical. But you can also use a concealer. When I first started out, that's what I did. I used concealer. I used matte concealer. So I don't know if that, it's been so long since I've done that I don't know if I could say that like the e.l.f. Hydra and Camo Concealer would work or not. But until I started using this, I used the ABH Eye Primer. I got the mini size because it was like $11 and it would last for a while instead of me paying like 20 something dollars for like the big thing. I don't know, my mind doesn't make sense sometimes. But anyway, so I really swear by the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas and Fair. That's like my holy grail. I normally use my Crown Noir Queen of the Cut Crease Half Cut Crease stencils. My words are not wanting to form today. I'm so sorry. But I just figured, you know, I wanted to do these different ways, do different steps. So I have my base. I use just an all over shadow brush. This is Elizabeth Mott. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on my lid. Now normally if I was going to do something really dramatic like a full cut crease, I would like take the base out really far, but I kind of felt like a more rounded eye would be a good one to start with, like a good starting point. So I'm really just kind of putting it in the shape that I want, but I am going to kind of use it to blend in with my concealer for my brows where I cleaned up. Just kind of gives it a more polished look, I think. Okay, it's not going to stay like that. Now, this is just a very old Wet n Wild brush from the Dollar Tree. Love a good deal. And it's a very good brush. So, what I'm going to do is just kind of pat that down and get it, especially towards my bridge of my nose and up against the brow. I really work on blending it into the skin. Into the skin. I almost couldn't say that. I'm so sorry. So, if this is your first time watching me, I'm usually not very articulate with words, but today for some reason it's just worse. But I just pat that down and get it ready. It's still tacky, still very good. That's one of the things that I love about this base, is it is very tacky. It holds the pigment there. It's just super awesome. So the palette that I'm going to be using today is the Nubian Mini by Juvia's Place. I think this is about $7.50 to $10, something like that, at Ulta. There's 6 shades, there's 3 mattes and 3 shimmers. Today, I'm mainly just going to be focusing on this shade right here, top right, for creating depth. This one right here, bottom center, to blend it out. And then I'm going to just kind of dip it into the blends palette for the white shade, because I just feel incomplete without using a white to just kind of like soften the edges of everything. And then for the shimmer, we're going to use this one right here. Super cute. Alright, so how I'm going to do this is I'm going to take a pencil brush. This is the ColourPop E10 brush. It's pretty stiff, but you can really get the job done with it. So I'm going to go into the darkest shade in the Nubian Mini, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to map out where I want to start creating the depth. So just kind of start like this. I about want to take it. I'll probably zoom you in some during the editing process. I kind of feel like that would be important. I'm really just using the lightest amount of pressure. Okay, so that's one part. And then I'm going to get a little bit more. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start, don't hold your brush like this, because it applies way too much pressure. You want to use the least amount of pressure, because if you use a lot, then you're going to get more of an overblend, and you don't want an overblend. I used to overblend quite a lot. I thought that was how it was supposed to be, but I learned that over time, like, no, if you want your color to be vibrant, you have to use a little bit of pressure, not a lot. So hold it towards the back, and what I'm doing here is from around the inner corner area of my eye in the crease, I'm just taking it and I'm starting to map out the shape. Well, I'm continuing to. So just a little bit. And I just go back in as I need to get a little bit more of the eyeshadow. And I just connect it, doing tiny back and forth windshield wiper motions. I'm just doing just with the lightest pressure possible. And I'm gonna go back in, and now I'm just gonna kind of pat it down. Okay, so you see how it looks like this. Now I'm gonna take, which brush was, okay. I'm gonna take my DeWalt Beauty Lounge brush. This is more of a, I would probably say a thicker, more kind of pencil brush, but not quite a pencil brush. I feel like this would be a good packing brush, like with the dome shape. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back into the same color, and what I'm gonna do now is just work on packing the shade down to build up the intensity of the shade, create some depth. And it's important to focus this like in the crease, maybe a little bit, yeah, just a little bit above the crease as well. So I'm kind of packing it, but also doing little windshield wiper motions. This eye really did not take me very long, but I feel like this is going to take long because I want to be thorough. I want to help anyone that wants to learn how to do eyeshadow. I'm not a professional, but I learned everything that I know from YouTube. So I would like to share the knowledge that I've gained to anyone who is interested. So I'm just packing it down. Okay, for the next step, I'm gonna take this Luxie mini taper blending brush. It's small, but it's fluffy enough to where it's not domed like the DeWalt Beauty Lounge brush, which you don't have to have these exact brushes. Whatever you have that may look like it could work, or whatever you're the most comfortable with. I cannot stress enough, to me, for when I was learning, it was all about the brushes that I was the most comfortable with. And not everybody's gonna like the same brushes, so whatever brush that you are the most comfortable with is what I would say gravitate towards, learn with, and you'll grow from there. So this is the Luxie Mini Taper Blending Brush, as I just said. I'm going to take it into the lightest shade that we're using, bottom center, and just for good measure, tap off a little bit of the excess. What I'm going to do is right up on that shade that we just laid down, I'm going to take little tiny back and forth windshield wiper motions. I'm going to say that a lot, but you'll maybe whenever you're watching it, or maybe if you're just like wanting to learn, maybe you'll hear me in the, oh, I hope not. I hope not. My voice annoys me. So, but maybe you'll be like, windshield wiper motions. Yes. So what I'm going to do is just windshield wiper motions right where we left off with that first shade. And now a lot of people do things a little bit differently. I've watched people to where they put their lighter shade and then their darker shade, but for some reason it just works better for me to start with the darkest shade and blend out from there. So I'm working on windshield wiper motions, just kind of getting this blended outwards and a little bit upwards, you know. So for the outer area of the eye can be a little bit tricky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pat this shade and do little circular motions. But the key with the circular motions is whichever way you go first, you do the opposite of, it makes the blend more even. So I'm just going back and forth, and then I'm just gonna work my way from each side of my eye until it looks about how I want it. You can go back into any of the shades that you need to as many times as you need to, as long as it's looking the way that you want it to look. That's all that matters. So I'm taking this lighter shade a little bit more, and I'm gonna just blend, give it a little blenderoo, a little baby blend. Now you may notice that you're losing that first shade. That's gonna happen, and we're gonna go in and touch that up real quick. But what I'm gonna do now is just continue to blend. So how I do this sometimes, especially for a more light look like this, I just really kind of feel like there's the crease, and then like up to like right here, right where I can feel like my brow bone starting to be. That's kind of where I want to stop with anything that's not the white right now, because that's gonna make it be a little more seamless, I feel like. But I just want to work on bringing it up a little bit, but not too much. But of course, do what you feel like complements your eyes. I just kind of feel like for me, that's what makes it look a little bit better, especially if I'm doing something a little more rounded. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take the same brush here and go back into the dark shade, and I'm going to touch it up. Just doing back and forth windshield wiper motions to bring it back into play. And then I'm going to blend it out with the same brush in the lighter shade. And just a little bit, you know, you just want to make sure that it's a nice seamless transition from shade to shade. And sometimes I like to just pat it down more on the outer corner of my eye here. Feel like we're looking pretty even. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to close that palette. I don't know what it is. I have a thing about leaving a palette open and reaching over it. Kind of weird like that, but so I'm taking my blends palette. I'm going to go into Cream and Sugar, which is the white shade. The blends palette I cannot recommend enough, but it's this one right here. I have a playlist that I usually play at the end of the video, but I'll try to put it in a card somewhere if you're interested in seeing looks that I've created with this palette. But I'm just going to go into Cream and Sugar, which is the white, and I'm going to take this. Now this is where I use the more fluffier brushes. I don't often use like a super fluffy brush, but for something like this, I was like, you know, I needed something to be a little bit more, whatever this is, okay? So I'm gonna take this Araceli Grande blending brush, and it's like this. So cute. And I do believe I got this out of an Ipsy bag. So I'm gonna go into Cream and Sugar, and I'm just going to gently tap off the excess, but I'm gonna just use it to blend out the edges of that lightest shade. And this just softens everything up. Now I'm just working it and just doing windshield wiper motions. Just want everything to look a little bit more airbrushed, and I feel like using a white eyeshadow to blend out the shades really kind of helps to make it look a little more airbrushed. I'm going to go back into the lightest shade that we used to blend out the first shade, and I'm just going to get just a tiny bit of it and bring it back, because we did lose it a little bit, but I feel like that just made the look come together a little better. I will say that blending is repetitive. I know that in voiceovers and stuff like that, I say it all the time, that blending is repetitive, and that is because it is. But for you to get the results that you want, you just have to take your time with it and blend the shades. And I go through where I will go, or I got to where I noticed that I like go back and forth a lot. So I kind of try to call that out when I'm doing a voiceover or anything, just so that I can kind of be like, you know, when you're doing something, if you want the color to be just how you want it, you're gonna have to be very repetitive with which shade you're going into and blending and bringing the color back out. And it can take a while, but I enjoy the process. I'm sorry if you hear my phone going off. I'm waiting to hear from my husband. And today Instagram's down, and I guess Facebook is too, but I'm just like, okay. So now I've just kind of been looking at Twitter, and I'm like, yay. This is a step that I usually heavily speed up when I'm doing other tutorials, but I kind of feel like it's important. So at this point, I'm going to take some micellar water on a Q-tip. But there's another way that you can do this. I don't do it that way, but you can do it that way. I just feel like the color payoff is best when I do it this way. So you can take your concealer, your base, whatever, on your brush and just go ahead and start carving out your crease. But I'm doing a little extra. Usually, this is how I don't know, it feels wrong to not do it this way. So I'm just going to take the micellar water on the Q-tip. I'm going to start from the inner corner area of my eye. And how I do this is I kind of look and see, like, okay, from the inner corner area, I kind of want to map out my crease and take it a little bit higher and just start to remove the shade that got on the lid. So this can take a little while because I'm just going and I'm trying to concentrate on not messing up here, because you can easily mess up. But I'm just removing it and getting the shape of my crease that I want. Till we have something about like this. I hope that I can do this, like do these steps where you can actually see what I'm doing, because sometimes I really have to get the mirror up there just to make sure that I'm doing everything the way that I want to. But I think I'm gonna take it a little bit more right up here. So I'm gonna take a little bit more of my clean canvas, and what I'm gonna do for this is a Morphe M421 brush. It is a small concealer brush. I use it strictly to carve my crease. And I probably need to get a new one, honestly. It's kind of looking like a Cynthia doll. I ought to put on my Cynthia earrings. I have some. Okay, anyway. See, I'm over here like thought thought process is like, the train of thought is derailing currently. But I want to get it to be as thin as possible, because that just makes it easier. So just kind of pressing it together. That's why I like this. Good shape. So I'm going to take the base, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to stamp it down. I don't think I got enough, but that's okay. So I'm just going to start to really carve out the crease. Time, because you can really mess up here, and if you do, and I might, I can show you how to fix it. I'm just starting from the inner corner of my eye and really focusing on the shape. And around the center, I like to tap it down. That's why I like the shape of the brush. That's why I like to flatten it. I like to just kind of stamp it at the top. Just do a little stamping. And then you want to look and see if they're even. I feel like I could go up a little bit more. I just see my battery light flashing and I'm like, oh, good thing I have some charge this time. Last time I didn't, and I was annoyed. It was my fault, but I was just like, ugh. So I'm getting a little bit more of the base. And I'm just gonna put it on the lid and work from there. So I feel like this needs to be a little bit higher, so I'm just gonna take it up a little bit higher. And towards the outer, I'll just kind of lightly, I want to say drag, but I don't, you're not really dragging. You're just kind of like you're doing the windshield wiper motions, but only one way. And then I just very gently bring it over and look at it and touch up anything that looks like it needs it. So up here, I'm just going to stamp a little bit more. And just really, like, on this outer bit, I'm gonna do like this and just tap it. Finish getting this shape right. Okay. I have so many things that I want to talk about, but I feel like I need to be in, like, doing this and showing how I do things mode instead of talking too much, because I already feel like it's gonna be a long one and I want to be informative, but I'm in, like, the chattiest of moods and I'm like, I want to talk. Okay, look and make sure they're even. I feel like they're pretty even. And I mean, this could be a look all its own if you didn't want to use a shimmer. I just kind of didn't know what I wanted to do, so put a shimmer. And when I say it could be a look by itself, I mean just like set this base with a like color, and that would be it. But I mean, I'll show you what we're gonna do first before I talk about that. So what I'm gonna do is take this Default Beauty Launch brush and the shade that we started with, the darkest shade. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of just pat it along the edges of that base. I know we just did all that work and we're doing it again. Trust me, it's a good step, okay? So just gonna really bring it in a little bit. You see, it kind of really brings the look together. I feel like it makes it look a little more, I don't know. I can't find the word right now, I'm sorry. But I'm just gonna make sure that I have it the way that I want it. And just, I don't know, I love how it just, the effect that it has. And with this Default Beauty Launch brush, it's just a kind of fluffier, kind of more, almost, it's not really angled, but it's flat but fluffy. So I'm gonna take a little tiny bit of that second shade and just kind of pop it on there. Just the teensy tiniest bit. Teensy tiniest, oh my gosh. So I'm going to take this BH Cosmetics number 8 brush It's a little tiny baby fan brush. It is so cute. I love it. I'm going to dip into the shimmer, and I'm going to start to place the shimmer down on the lid. The reason I'm using this brush is because when I want to get right up in there on the crease, I can take it. I'm going to try to scoot up a little bit. I'm going to take it and really get it on the crease. Kind of like the same way as when we used that Morphe brush to carve the crease. So how I'm going to do this is I'm just going to continue to just like pack it on to the lid, almost into the shade. But I'm going to bring it over to that lightest shade, and for this little bit right here, I'm just going to kind of blend it. That's why I love using this for this. It makes it so much easier. Alright, so now that that's like that, you notice that it seems a little bit darker over here than over here. I'm going to show you how to add a little bit more depth. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Sigma liner brush. I'm going to go back into that darkest shade, just touch it up a little bit. Oh, have a cat fur on it. Tapping off the excess, and I'm just going to run it up as tightly as I can against where we carved out the crease. And just very gently, very carefully too. Just like right here needs a little. And I'm gonna clean it off. I have a quick changer kind of thing. It has like a sponge in it, and you just do it like this, and you can clean it off really quick. And I do need to clean mine out, so I'm just gonna make sure that it on the back of my hand is clean enough. Yeah. And I'm going to use the lightest shade, tap off the excess, and do a tiny, tiny little baby blend. Just like that. And we're getting there. We're almost there. I'm going to take just a little bit more of that shade that we just used on that same brush. And what I'm going to do is really touch it up a little bit. And y'all, we can go do the rest of our face. Okay, but really, this is how I do it. So for the lower lash line, I don't know, will that be something that you're interested in? I used to do that. I don't know why I quit. I'll think about it. But if not, I'm just going to use the same two shades. I'm going to do the darkest one right up against the lash line, blend it out with a little bit of the lighter shade, and pop on a tiny bit of light brown liner onto the waterline. Add some lashes and all that good stuff. So I'll be back in a snap. Alright, so this is how I look. A little more put together than I was earlier. But yeah, so like I hope this was helpful. I just kind of didn't know how to end it. So I was like, okay, I'll try to keep it as normal as possible. But for the lower lash line, I just used the same two shades. And I used a little bit of a light brown eyeliner for the waterline. And I feel like it came together pretty okay. And I'm really liking this color of this lipstick. I feel like since I've got not so much of a whole bold look going on up here, that I would just do like a pretty bold lip. But yeah, so I'm thinking that maybe I'll do, for another one of these, we'll focus on a pop of color maybe, or start with like a monochromatic kind of color situation. If you're interested in that, please let me know. Let me know the color. If you want to just do an all one color, I can do all matte. I can do like, you know, we can do like shimmer like today. I do feel like a half cut crease is fairly simple, so I feel like the next level would still be a half cut crease, but with more than a neutral color. And then we can do more of a neutral color like this and do like a halo eye if you're interested in that. Halo, not a halo eye, but just a full-on cut crease with neutral colors. And then I'll start to show you how I use the stencils. They're time savers. That's why I use them. Like, Literally, they saved me so much time, and I'm so thankful that I found Crown War Cosmetics because those stencils saved me so much time. So I'm really excited to do a video where I kind of just show you how to get like the fastest cut crease of your life, or halo eye, because the half cut crease stencils work amazingly for doing halo eye work. But just let me know what you want to see. Like, what do you think I should explain more on? Anything like that. I'm so excited to do whatever you're interested in. So just let me know down below, and I will try to get on that super soon. I know this is going to go up. Today is Monday. So this Sunday, today's the 4th, so whatever Sunday will be, probably the 10th of October. Oh my gosh, October's already gone by quick. Anyway, I'll have this up by then, and just let me know what you want to see in like the form of this being like a series. I might try to try to make at least one of these be like a Wednesday video if you're interested. I don't know. It's all on the table. I want to hear your opinions, your thoughts, everything else. Just let me know down below. So if you want to keep up with my awkward face and shenanigans while I'm not here on YouTube, I'll have lost my earring. I'll have all my social medias down below just in case you want to keep up with me there. Instagram's down. I don't know when it'll be back up. It's currently like 5:30 in the evening and it's still not up. So there's that. So I'm not going to post there today. But yeah, I have Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, abandoned Facebook page, all that good stuff. And if you want to keep up with me while I am here on YouTube, and if you felt like this was an informative video and you'd like to see more, please hit that subscribe button. It means the world to me, and I cannot express to you how much I appreciate it. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. Like, that really means so much to me too. Like, it really does. I'm so thankful for anyone who watches my videos. But yeah, so I guess that's it for this one, and I hope that I'll see you in the next one. Bye!